So this is an interview with Craig Leeman, who used to work at Poole Brothers Lumber Company. In fact, you are probably the oldest, I don't mean age-wise, but the longest individual who has worked at Poole Brothers right now. Jerry Farron would have been the same, kind of tradition.
Jerry worked longer than I did.
Yes.
He started in 1967.
Oh, okay.
I started in 1968.
Okay.
And of course, then when I retired, well, it weren't Poole Brothers anymore, but being born here when I got out of the service, in 68 I got out of the Coast Guard, and that's when I went to work for Carl Poole Sr.
Okay, right.
And from then on,
Yeah.
except for 2 years that I wasn't here, I didn't work for him. I came back to him and spent the rest of my life there at Poole Brothers
Isn't that
in that mill.
Wow, wow.
And could you describe the mill when you arrived in '68? I mean, you knew about it before you arrived there, but can you remember what it looked like, and was there any changes in any particular way?
No, not really.
Okay.
Down in that lean-to part off the side, there was a four-sided planer,
Oh.
big thing. And
Not the one that's there now.
no, not the one that's
A
there now.
four-sided
And
planer.
we got rid of that one.
Okay.
I don't know who bought that. Someone bought it, wanted it.
Yeah.
Were you then processing, when you used that four-sided planer, were you processing logs at that point?
No,
Just
we
rough
didn't use the four-sider,
Oh, okay.
just the one upstairs, and that was just rough sawn boards, or like back then, we had kept 6x6 and stuff in rough. Some people wanted them planed, so we'd drag them in the mill and we'd plane everything up to what they wanted. Take, I think, like 2 feet wide by 6 inch.
So that shed, what would that shed, the interior of that shed look like? Well, as far as equipment, that kind of stuff. The planer obviously was there,
Yeah.
close to that door. Is that right?
Yeah, that planer was right there.
That sliding door, or 2 sliding doors.
Yeah, was right against that wall, beamed with the cable on it.
Right, that would hold the logs.
Yeah.
But that was not being that was not being used.
No.
At that, okay,
And
yeah.
that bar that was up near the front.
Yeah, the
that
brake.
locked that wheel.
That you showed me the
And
brake that would
released it.
shut that down.
Yeah. Oh, I remember all the old pulleys underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was
planer,
cool.
the one that is still there, we ran that, Jerry and I.
Right.
We used to run that all the time.
But it wasn't powered with water
No,
when you
that's
ran
right.
it.
Had to have
Okay.
phase 3 power or something like
Triple-
that. It
triple
took a lot of
phase.
power
Yeah.
to run it.
Oh, that's a big machine, my gosh, yeah.
Because down in that lower bay, there's a big box, electrical box.
Oh, yeah,
And there's a
yeah.
handle on it.
Oh,
You just didn't turn it on. No
Ah.
way. You had to bring it up, and it had to start the planer
Oh.
slowly.
oh,
And you kept doing it.
Yeah.
Kept going up faster and faster until it got full speed.
I
But
see,
if it
right.
was in the winter, there's frost in the belts.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do it. So
Oh.
you'd shut her back down, crawl under the mill, hand belt dressing, rub all the belts down,
Oh,
go back up again, start her again, try her again. She'd get up almost to speed and slip all the belts.
oh my
Back
God.
under the mill, do it again.
But this was
So we got that
at this
thing
point it
going.
was electrical.
That was electrical.
Okay, yeah. You don't know when that started, when they started running it electrically and weren't running off the turbine.
No, because that was electrical when I got there.
Yeah,
In
okay.
'68.
Well, that's good to know.
When you wanted to do 6x6,
Yeah.
you'd start cranking.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
right.
I'm telling you, it took forever
Yeah.
to get it up to 6x6. Then of course the next guy wanted board.
That all
You start all over again, cranking her all the way back down. Some slow. The one that's up there now.
Right.
Yeah, that through the blade. Jerry was running it that
Yeah,
day when
yeah, okay.
Okay.
she let go, because I came
and what
back.
let go was a blade flew out.
Yeah, blade went out and it went down in, it broke the belt
Oh, yeah, right.
that was running everything and
Right.
broke the blades and
Yeah.
And then Carl Poole Sr. said, that's it.
that was it. They never fixed her again.
And then did that stop all the planing for Poole Brothers from that point on?
Yeah.
You just bought commercial lumber that
Yeah,
was
we
planed
bought
or
everything.
rough.
You don't know roughly when that happened, the accident.
I was there 68, 70. to 72, I didn't work there. I worked there 68 to 70,
Okay.
2 years. Then I went on another job, and I was gone 2 years.
Okay.
And when I came back, the planer was already destroyed. It happened, so 70, 71, 72, somewhere in there.
Gotcha, right.
And when you arrived roughly in 68, what did the mill building look like? Was it any different than it is
No
now?
different.
Same thing.
Just made repairs on it,
Yeah.
you know, redone it underneath quite a few times.
So they were always fixing it up,
Always
restoring it, making sure it was in good shape to hold the lumber at that point.
Put all them new 6x6 crib in and
Yeah.
stuff
Supports
underneath it. So we did a good job of keeping that mill,
Right.
you know, in the condition it was.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And we never really changed much in there, except the racks.
Oh, yeah.
All of them racks upstairs,
Right.
I built all of them in there.
Oh, right.
They were all just one room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be the first floor.
Yeah, the first floor, they were just rooms.
Heater, stove up in the second or third floors.
Well, not
That you
when I
were
was
aware
there
of?
that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I assumed, you know, that when it was a grist mill, they had to be working in there in the winter, so they
Right.
must have had wood stoves
Yeah.
in there,
Yeah, no.
and it was
Right,
all
no.
lathered and plastered.
Right.
It's amazing how poorly the mill looks at that
Right.
point
I
and
know,
how good it
it
looks now.
does.
I mean, you know, you
You know,
think
where
about
the-
And the fact that it's still standing there, that's
Well,
cool.
because Kyle took good care
Yeah.
of it. You know, he kept maintaining it.
Yeah.
and
The fact that he didn't pull
We
the-
had a lot
much
of
the
weight.
equipment out.
in that,
Yeah.
through that big door.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
We had to lug all the 2x8 18s and
Yeah.
20 footers
Yeah,
in the back of that mill. 2x10 18 and 20 footers.
yeah.
We didn't leave that lumber outdoors. We lugged it in the mill, one
Right.
stick at a time.
Holy cow.
You know, and needed it, we lugged it back
Yeah.
out again.
Wow.
Right.
Uncrate everything. We had to lug everything
Yeah.
in. Sheetrock.
Mm-hmm.
We had kept sheetrock in the beginning.
Oh
We'd
my
get-
gosh.
We'd
Yeah.
get sheetrock. We'd have to lug it in the mill.
Could you describe for me when you arrived in '68 what the mill pond looked like and how it was kind of the orientation of it?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember, but it seems to me that that mill pond was there when I came
Yeah.
there, because we got our pine. Always came from the west coast,
Right.
and it came in railroad cars.
Oh, really? Oh, I see.
And Jerry and I went up.
You'd go up to Damascotta?
And up Damascotta, we'd lug it all out of the railroad cars, tie it up with rope, bring it down, and we used to back out on the platform to the front of the mill,
Mm-hmm.
and one had to get on top, and the other had to get upstairs.
So you would hand offload
Hand
all
offload.
that wood from California,
Yep,
the West Coast.
that's where it came from.
Why did Carl buy it from the West Coast when there was so much wood here?
It was, he bought all his pine. All his pine came railroad car.
Isn't that?
Brick.
Yeah.
We'd go out and lug brick out of a railroad car. You know,
Gracious.
about 4,000 brick to a time. Go in there with brick tongs, 10 to a time.
Oh,
Lug them out, stack them up, bring them down. And of course, all we had was the International. It was a tractor converted to a forklift,
mm-hmm. Sure,
the
sure.
old International.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And we never had it. Why I think the pond had to have been there. We used to take, when the pond was filled in, we
Yes.
could go up with a forklift, raise lumber up, put it away.
Of course, right, right.
You want to take a look at that picture there? That's that 1910 shot. It shows almost all the pond. There's obviously a little bit
Yeah.
missing over here. Do you remember it looking anything like that? Well,
No.
there.
No, I don't remember it being like that.
And why, so that it was being dammed up at that point?
At
Was,
that
was there a
point, we
fish
could-
ladder also operative at that point as well when you
Yeah.
came in '68? The fish ladder was still in
Because
place?
we, when it come time for L-wise,
Yep.
we'd drop the locks
Hmm.
and dam it up, and that brought it in through the fishway, and the L-wise come around.
Oh, wow.
That was why we closed it.
So you would only close it because of the
Like
alewives
the alewives
coming up.
come up in them locks, they could rest and they work their way up.
Oh, I see, right.
So over by, okay, and the dam. So with that water level, the water level that you saw when you dam it up, similar to what you see here in that photograph, the 1910 photograph?
That I can't remember
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
water level was in that pond.
Well, would have had to have been at least pretty high like that if the pond were still there when you came.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So
Oh,
those
yeah.
boards,
There was water in there. That other pictures right
Yeah,
there
right.
shows,
yeah.
them CMP pictures shows
Can
the
I see
water.
one?
And that shows the mill pond. But there's no date on them pictures, so I don't know what year that was. Or what year the
Oh,
warehouse
well, look at the station wagon.
across the road.
So when you actually put the boards in place to dam up the mill
Yeah,
for when the alewives was coming, could you describe that process of how you did that?
it was just, they were only on a rope, we just dropped them down. That was it.
They were on a rope, so
Yeah.
it was some kind of a lever, some kind of a winch that you would let go?
No, we used to get the tractor out there and pick them up, reach out there. Because when you had water pressure, you couldn't open
Right.
the
Yeah.
locks. There's no way you.
Those boards are horizontal, right? When you drop
I
them.
can't remember, they dropped down, there was two of them, two
Yeah,
gates.
yeah. Yeah, there you
Side
go.
by side,
Oh, two gates.
two gates.
Right.
And we dropped them.
Yeah, right.
I have no idea how deep that pond must have been.
So they filled it in when it was still wet, or were they able to drain the whole thing?
Well, without the dam, opening the locks on the dam, there's no water in there.
Yeah,
Pretty well drained everything.
I see, right. So
Hmm.
it must have been a lot of fill, though. I mean, it must have been at least 8 feet, 10
Yeah,
feet
that-
deep.
I would guess it would have to be.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
have
to
no
support the
idea.
logs.
Well, it must have made your job a lot easier to back that
Oh,
truck.
have that piece of property there. And have that mill pond.
Did you change the dam in any way, or that
No.
just eventually rotted away
That
and
just
everything?
got rotten and
Yeah,
it was getting to be a liability.
yeah,
You know,
right.
people walking on it, the platform was rotting out
Oh, I see, yeah.
and, you know,
So did you remove it yourself there, or did it just naturally rot out and flow away in the spring, you
no,
know?
no, they pulled it out.
Oh, they
Even
pulled
someone
it out.
come in, they pulled it out of there.
Okay,
Took the platform off
and the doors out
and
and,
the doors out and everything was taken right out.
okay, so that would have been the same time, about 72 or 3.
Yeah, and I would guess, well, no, the mill pond had been filled in for quite a while, when we still had the dam there.
Oh, okay.
That mill
Did you
pond-
still put the doors in to let the alewives
Yeah,
up?
to go up around.
Oh, yeah.
You could dam that up, so
Yeah.
right up to the falls and behind, across the road.
Oh, I see, yes, right, right. When you use the term falls, what do you mean?
Right behind the building, across the road. You got the stream
Yeah.
above the bridge,
Yeah,
there's a stream, and you go around the back.
yeah,
That's what I consider the falls,
it's coming down to the
coming down
You
from,
actually have
to the
three-
upriver
from
side.
the upriver
Three
side.
sets of falls.
There are different
Those
falls,
are
yeah.
probably what
Different sections of
they're
falls.
referring to, the Great Falls in Gibbon's time.
Okay,
Just the ones that are adjacent to the mill, and then you go down a little bit, and there's a set of falls there where I
Yeah.
think where
Yeah.
the Elvers fish,
Yeah.
they do their bit, and then above on the fresh side
yeah,
is that first set of falls.
Yeah. That, see, was before my time.
yes, right,
From
right.
68 on, you know,
Yeah.
listening to Carl tell stories about
Yeah,
the water wheels that was there.
okay, and what was that?
And
Do we
what
have
he
this on
told
tape or
me,
not?
'cause where the dam was, used to be a water wheel.
Oh, whoa.
See, that's what I have to,
That,
But I never knew how it operated or anything. But he said that was the first way they operated,
Right.
was that water wheel.
when you say they,
Whoever was doing it.
okay, but not Carl
Not
Senior.
Carl
No,
Senior.
not Carl
No,
Senior.
but it was when he first bought the place, or maybe a little bit after then. That was still visible. Is that he? That's what he was telling me. He's talking about a water wheel.
He was talking about the ways the mill was run.
Was
over
run.
the years.
yeah,
you know.
right.
And that was the first one was that water wheel.
And this was something he learned from other people
He
before
must have
him.
learned, he was telling me these stories, I wish I'd
Yeah.
listened more.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's
so
okay, but he didn't actually, see what I think we're both trying to get at is, did he actually see a water wheel there?
That I don't know
Yeah.
if he actually ever saw one,
I bet not.
because then he said, under the mill through that big door,
Yeah,
the wooden platform,
yeah.
if you notice, which makes it logical, how the rock walls are built,
That photo?
Yes, right.
brings in there. He said that was an under the water wheel. They put the water over the
Oh,
top.
undershot and overshot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right, right.
There's two different ways that they
So
run.
this
And it
would have
looks
been a-
logical why that's rocked up like that.
Oh, okay.
Because
Right.
that's what I've always wondered, but.
And then it was he said that generator was the third one that had
Oh,
run that mill.
The generator,
they,
the electrical
they're
generator,
triple phase.
Not the water one, no.
the turbine,
Turbine.
okay, that's,
He said that was the third one.
well, actually,
third
that
one
would
operating
have
the mill.
been, that
Oh,
probably
wow.
would have been the second one. Because you got a water wheel,
Yeah,
the turbines put in around 1820, because we know the
Yeah.
date to that turbine is 1820, based on what Richard Morgan's seen. So there's no question about when that was manufactured, and sometime after,
Yeah.
give or take, maybe 5-10 years. The third one would have been when you guys are running it electrically,
Yes.
yeah.
as opposed to,
Yeah, it was electric when I started.
He thought it was an undershot mill. The water
The
would
water
come
wheel.
under the water wheel.
Yeah,
Under the
that was,
water wheel.
but that big door,
Yes, right.
and
right.
that, because it's all rocked up.
Yes,
right,
right.
And it looks like,
okay.
geez,
Yes, no,
the
I.
water wheel could fit in there, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Visualize it, why would they rock this, like that?
Yes, exactly. What was your job when you started working? So you and Jerry were basically the crew who would go get the wood up in Damascata from
Yeah.
the railroad, the
Yeah.
bricks, all of them in different
Yeah,
materials,
and then we done the delivery.
and
All
the delivery. Okay, so that was principally your job with Poole Brothers.
Yep, we were deliverers. I know Jerry and I was up on the third floor, we found the two chainsaws,
Oh my gosh.
old Carl had bought. Two-man chainsaws.
Oh, yeah, heavy
Oh,
as hell.
Had a handle on one end.
Yeah,
One guy held that.
Oh my gosh.
Jerry and I got curious, so we dragged it out, we gassed it up.
Huh.
By God, we got it running.
Oh my goodness.
We
Wow.
had that thing running.
How long was the blade?
I think the blade was like 6 feet long.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
it was
my
like on the motor end, you had two handles.
yeah.
Oh,
You had to
yeah,
hold
yeah,
on
right.
to it. The other guy held one handle
Oh yeah.
on the other. I think Joe Poole still has them. It was
Yeah.
like Carl telling about moving that store.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
store came up on top of the hill. When you go up into the village
Yeah.
and you come back out onto 130, right there. Whether he moved it or his father did or
Yeah,
what, but
yeah.
anyway. He was telling me how they moved it, which just fascinated me.
Sure. Right. Right.
That they drove stakes in the ground
Yeah.
and the building was on logs
Yeah.
and they had blocks and tackles and they had oxen that
Mm.
went this way and the building went this way.
Oh, so actually pulleys.
And then they'd
Yeah.
reset again.
Oh,
Set
yeah.
the logs, reset the oxen.
So
oxen
the
would go
house was
back.
on like sills, two sills made out of logs,
Yep, they rolled it
and then
on
they
the
just
logs.
skid them along
Yeah,
like that.
kept rolling them
Yeah.
on
Right.
the logs.
Yeah. That's
That
interesting.
story always fascinated me. I never forgot that one.
Isn't that
Just
amazing?
visualizing how they moved this.
Yes. And they're gone, but who are they that you remember who did work there?
Oh, well, all the Sykeses worked there.
All the
Caddy
Sykeses.
Sykes, Lester Sykes,
Okay. Yeah.
Cosell Feltis.
Mm.
I know they all worked there in that mill.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think some of them pictures said that Caddy Sykes is in one of them pictures. Which one he is, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
My father, he worked there
Your
in
father.
that mill.
Yeah.
But
When did he work there, roughly? During the war?
no, it had
40s,
been after
50s?
the war. It had to have been after the war. Cal was always real good with the people, we had,
Yes, of course.
like hurricanes coming up
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
We was Well, Jerry and I, we were basically on call all the time.
Yes,
We
right.
got calls Saturday, we were closed Sundays.
Yeah.
The people that live around here have to work during the week. So they start a project, they run out of lumber.
Oh,
They call either Jerry or me.
Yes.
Could you open up the store so we get some lumber? Sure, no problem. We'd go out, we'd
How
open
wonderful.
up, we'd get what they needed.
yes,
Then
exactly.
we'd write it all down Monday morning,
Yeah,
put it in
right.
the books.
That's wonderful.
And, you know, we always did that. We were always getting calls
Yes,
to
exactly.
go out,
That's wonderful.
get stuff for people. But
Was
that's
it-
what Kyle liked, to run the business.
No,
You know,
of course.
take care of the people.
It was a family business,
It was a
serving
family
the community
business.
of
Yeah.
actual, Pemaquid, the whole
Yeah.
area. Were there ever any unusual situations, a fire or something out of the norm that happened? Lightning hit or?
Break-ins to the warehouse of the lumber storage area or the
The
stores?
store.
Really?
Every time we got broken in, it was a store.
Oh, just the store. They were looking for cash, not for
Yeah.
lumber.
They stole the safe one year.
Oh,
Really?
Oh,
I mean, that's a big safe and it was heavy.
oh dear.
My God, they got it out through the door, and they even went across the road and got in that building, brought the forklift over to pull the safe out
You're
and load
kidding
it.
me.
We found the safe over by Stuart Gillespie's
Oh,
on the side road over there. We
Wow.
found the safe.
And how they get the safe
They
open?
got it open. I don't know how they did, but they got her open. There
Holy-
wasn't nothing in it, because we never kept no money there.
Great.
We never kept no money at the store.
you said to me at one point that Carl Poole Sr. used to yard up logs and bring them down the river
Yeah,
himself on
Yeah.
a Sunday afternoon
yeah,
in order for the workmen to be able to saw out logs.
yeah.
When was he talking about? When did that operation go on?
I don't know when he did that. Whenever they were sawing logs, he told me the story about,
Yeah.
you know, he didn't want to waste his time with the crew moving the logs. He'd go out and he'd move them down.
And where were they yarded up? Were they in Boyd's Pond? Were they
I have
in the
no
river
idea
somewhere?
where they got them from up there. They had a lot of portable sawmills.
Yes.
They had one
Right.
just this side of the town line, Damascotta.
Oh, really? Okay.
Cal Poole had one there.
Hmm.
Then he built a store there. God, that was, I can't remember what year that was. It was before I got there. But he built it.
In Bristol or in
It was in
Damascotta?
Bristol.
So it's just on the other side of the Bristol
It's,
line from Damascotta?
Yeah, it's, trying to think. There's George Houston's house, a great big one.
Yeah, oh, sure, right.
Okay, the house before the brook, the one, by the dentist office, when you go by there, it's that first house. And
Oh.
down in back, Kyle had a sawmill.
I know that Carl Poole Sr. used to have a portable mill on Huey's Point up on Boyd's Pond.
Yeah.
And because I've seen sawdust there and I saw where it was. But
Yeah.
would that have been maybe the place that they were cutting trees up there and then would they have floated them down the river?
Now, back that far,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. But Carl did tell you that he would get those logs
Yep, you get them logs down.
and he would
have 'em
float
ready.
them down the Pemaquid River.
Yep, float them down the river and have them ready for sawing
Mm.
Monday morning.
It must have been maybe in March to
When the water's high.
June at the latest.
Right.
Yeah,
Because that's the only time you could float logs down that river. Otherwise, it's just too low,
Right.
yeah.
too bony to be able
Oh,
to
yeah.
get any significant logs down there, except for,
And then there's the other issue that I wouldn't even think about, is what was up at Bristol Mills? Because you have the dam there, the swimming hole.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to get access to having that opened up if he's running logs down.
Yeah,
And as I say, there was a portable mill that was there at that
Right, yeah.
point too. Because the wood from my barn at the boat shop was sawed right there on Huey's Point.
yeah,
Ed Penniman told me that.
yeah.
But we
That
don't
would have been
know
about
when
probably about the 30s and 40s. When did sawing, the sawmill at Poole Brothers, stop?
I have no idea. It was before my time.
There were water powered sawmills throughout Maine that were running into the 30s and 40s.
Was there any change when Carl Poole Sr. turned the mill over, turned the lumber company over to Carl Poole Jr. in 1980?
Yeah.
Was there a change in any kind of way of the operation, or it just continued to go along?
No,
It
we
was
just
just a change
continued
in
on.
the top management
Yeah.
in that
Yeah,
way.
we just continued on.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, why did Carl Sr. turn it over to Carl Jr.? He was just feeling it was his time to kind of give the reins
He
over
was
to...
getting up at the age, and
Yeah.
he was kind of stepping back a little bit,
Okay, yeah,
and letting, Kyle go ahead
yeah,
more,
right.
and just kept, really working his way out. He was getting tired.
Sure, of course. And what could you just maybe share a little bit about Carl Poole Sr. and what kind of a boss he was, what kind of a person he was?
He was a good boss.
Yeah,
He
okay.
really was. He was, that first year I came there, Bill Feltis was still working there, one of the old timers,
Okay, yeah.
and he wasn't well.
Oh,
He wasn't doing good, he was sick, he
Yeah.
was missing a lot of work. But I do know Carl Poole Sr. paid him every week, whether
Wow.
he worked or not.
bless his heart. How wonderful.
He took care of him.
Yeah, well, that's
That's the type of person,
yes.
he was.
And how many were working at Poole Brothers at that time when you first arrived? Were there
It was
like,
just Jerry, me,
yeah,
and Earl Feltis.
just the three of you?
three of us.
Wow.
And then Earl, of course, he got done shortly afterwards, he couldn't do no more.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think who came there. I think Gordon Bailey. He came.
Oh,
shortly
Gordon came at that
afterwards.
time? Oh, yeah. But then Carl Jr. does open up, of course, the Damascata building.
Yeah, well, he opened up Booth Bay first.
Okay, right.
I'd been gone 2 years. I came back to work for him, and I asked him. I got done, and had kids and no
Sure.
job, and
Yeah,
the one I had, I was done with it.
yeah,
And I went to Cal and I asked him, if I get a job.
yeah.
He says, the only thing I've got right now is in Booth Bay.
Oh,
So I said, well, I'll take it. He just opened that store
oh,
up.
I
down in
see.
Booth
So you would have started there around
So I went-
71,
Bay. 72,
72, okay.
73.
Okay, right.
Such a smart man
Oh, of course, yeah. Wow.
and such a good friend,
Oh, my gosh.
I've had not only my boss, but as a friend.
Yeah. Well, you still
couldn't get a better
go
one.
there all the time.
And I go
mean,
there
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been such a good friend to me.
Just for the record, any specific remembrances, life lessons, or things about working at Poole's that you might want to share?
Oh, it was pretty much, we just worked.
Yeah.
There was days that, I know one day, we sold one 2x10
Wow.
all day long. It was a blizzard. We stayed open for the whole thing, and we sold one 2x10. I'll never forget. What a long day.